Hello, this is Senior Honcho. Once again, welcome back to my Let's Code series on modding Minecraft. Last time we left off, we were trying to start up Eclipse and get into a project, and I got a little bit stuck. So, what I've done is I went offline, figured out what I did wrong. It was just a silly little kind of almost a noob mistake. So I'm going to start up Eclipse right now, and um, so what we want to do is we're writing our Terraria mod, and when you decompile it and go through the steps in the previous videos, you'll get this Eclipse folder, and that's actually the one that you want to start up Eclipse in. And once you do that, you're going to start into that workspace, and lo and behold, once it loads up, and going through all the Eclipse startup stuff that you can't see, it's off screen, and I can't figure out how to slide that over. And once that loads up, then you'll see that we should have our mod project now. So, and the name of that project when it comes in should just be Minecraft. And the way we can test that this is actually set up correctly is if we go ahead and hit run, and it should be able to go through and actually be able to run Minecraft. So you can see it's kicking off the JVM, it's doing all its workspace stuff, and there it goes, it's starting up. And once it gets to a certain point, now this is going to start a little bit slower than your normal Minecraft does, but that's because we're building it from code and we've got Eclipse running, so it's a little bit taxing on the machine to run both. But once things get going, and the way you know it's working is that you're going to see the Minecraft Forge startup screen. So instead of just the Mojang title screen, you'll see that it's actually initializing a mod. So it goes through 7 steps. Typically, if you have a bunch of mods in here, you'll have a larger counter. Right now, you see it's just loading a single mod, so it's not too bad. It goes through them pretty quick. And when that's all said and done, drum roll, and there it is. So you can see we're on 1.8. We've got the Minecraft loader, MCP. All this is the Forge information type stuff. So then, I haven't created a world here or done anything yet, so we don't have anything to really test yet, but this is what we'll use to test. So when I quit game, it should close it down, and this process should finish. So, okay. So now moving on, I'm going to go ahead and enlarge this because this is going to be our main work template. I'll go through this structure a little bit. So this is your typical kind of code setup, mostly source main Java, source main resources, reference libraries. So you can see it brought in just a ton of libraries, which is needed for Minecraft and Forge. Most of the other stuff you really don't need to. So this source is actually just the directory, another directory structure. I think that's maybe something that might not be in yours. That may be something that I was trying to do to get something set up. But the main one, source main Java, you have an example mod in here. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at this because I think what I want to do is I just want to refactor this class to start my mod. Yes. So if you start with this, you have all the information you need to actually start modding. And you could do this example mod until the cows come home and do that. But we actually want to customize it, so we're going to refactor this a little bit. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this file. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to do through mouse menu because a lot of my stuff is, or my shortcuts are a little bit rusty. So I'm going to go ahead and rename that. And I'm going to rename this Terraria mod. Terraria. No, it's spelled Terraria correctly. I still don't think did I spell that right this time? Let me see. Where else do I have that listed? Just in the directory. Yes. Bushman finally got to some coding. So I'm going to refactor. Well, we're refactoring right now, which is kind of coding. It's kind of doing that. I don't need to go into advanced settings for any of that. So it's going to go through, check everything. You notice when I did that so when you rename stuff through refactor, it's going to go through and it's going to find examples of stuff, and it's going to change it. So you notice that it changed all the class references in this code to match. It changed my class name, so it did actually a lot of coding for me. The kind of things it's not going to change, it's not going to change the static string. So we're going to change this to Terraria mod. I'll eventually learn to spell this right. And the other thing I want to do is I want to refactor this package as well. So again, refactor rename, and yes, okay, save it. Next time I get that message, I will be setting that to always save before, because it's like, well, why wouldn't I want to save it? Yes, golly, I should have picked an easier mod to spell. Okay, so now you see that it's renamed the package, it's modified it in the code, and we're all good and happy. Okay, so we've got the mod ID, we've got the version, we've got yada 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 version 1, we've got our event handler set up, sample printout dirt block blah blah. Okay, so the sample code is just gonna dump something to the screen, so we don't want that. We're just gonna leave that empty for the time being. So we're just gonna blow that out, bang, like that. Okay, so there's the init, and there's two more methods that we need. And so what I was doing, I'm gonna look this up real quick because I want to make sure I get this right. So I'm gonna look up an example, Minecraft Forge mod. Let's see if I can actually find some code pretty quick. Yeah, basic modding. That's pretty much what we're doing. Well, come on, load up. It was there. I know you all saw it. Let me refresh this. Chrome is being silly. There it is. Basic modding. Oh, or I could have done this one. This stuff hasn't really changed in a long time. I just haven't written a mod in a while, so I just kind of want to. Sometimes I'll just double check myself as I go, since I don't have things like unit tests that I can run. Let's see, what do we got? Getting started, we did that. Goals, prereqs, Eclipse, creating packages, classes. Yeah, I've done that. Base mod class. Okay, yeah, here. This is kind of what I was looking for here. So they added. What version is this for? We got to be careful because the versions are different. So this is from last year. So this is a 1.7. So some of this stuff we don't actually need, but we do need pre-init, load, and post-init. So that's kind of, and we're going to need this instance as well. So what we're going to do is I'm going to slide this off to the side, and I'll add it in so you can follow along with the video. So we have a init. We're going to call this, and we're just going to refactor this to be what initialization event. Okay, so this is what they're calling load. I think we'll be okay there. I think we can leave that as a init. I think that's the new 1.8. Let's see what it here. Okay, let's go back, read the manual again. There's a mention of 1.8 here. This is the absolute basis for creating a mod for 1.8, but it won't do anything. Yeah. Import statements. All right. So, okay. So now they're talking about the proxies, and we'll do that in a little bit. So, I'm going to go back. We'll go ahead and follow this example and see if it works. And hopefully we'll get our first block created. So we're going to be looking for, we're going to do a glass bowl because it uses existing Minecraft items. So we're going to try and create a glass bowl in there, which is actually a Terraria item that's not in the original Minecraft. So I'm going to go ahead and refactor this. This is using the IDE to refactor is generally considered a safe refactoring. For more on clean code and safe refactoring, you can check out Martin Fowler's book called Clean Code. It's a good read. Lots of useful information on how to keep your code clean and tight. Okay, so with that, we're going to add in the pre-initialize, and I'm going to go ahead and keep this in order. Let's start with our instance, actually. So we need an instance of the mod. This is actually going to be what drives the code. So we're going to do, we're just going to start typing that, and then I'm going to hit Control Space, and hopefully something comes up. All right, so we can see at instance here. So I want that one right there from the common mod. I'm going to pull that in. This does a couple things, and there's a reason why I did it that way. That handles all the imports for me, so I don't have to do an extra step. So we're going to do public static generic. So I'm going to just start typing generic, hit Control Space, keep typing generic, and we want generic. Which generic do we want? Let's see what they imported here. They grabbed generic from. Nope, sorry. That generic is actually their mod name. So I want actually to do an instance of this class. I should have known better than that, right? So, and this is our instance. Okay. So this is a self-reference. So this loads in the mod, and then anytime we want to use the mod, we go back to its instance. It's a reference to a singleton pattern. So now on here, on this instance, they also have in here a parameter for this attribute, or this annotation, and that'll be value equals, and then we'll just give it our mod ID, Terraria, Control Space to get that bad boy up there, dot mod ID. Okay, super simple so far, nothing too complicated. And this is why I generally look it up, because it just makes things easier. So the next thing we're going to do is an event handler. I'm just going to, I'm lazy, I don't want to type all that in. On this event handler, we've got no parameters. This will be a public void. And then we're going to do the pre-init. And the pre-init is going to take an FML pre initialization event. That's the only thing that's there. We'll just pass it in as event. This is just going to be an empty method right now. We'll do something with it later. And this method is not to the style I like. My style is to keep my open curly brace on the same line as my method name, and then I close in line there. So style is only important for consistency. So every programmer has their own style, and in order to be able to read your code nice and easy, because you want your code to be readable when you come back to it. Oh, that's not end. Been working on a Mac, so my initial keystrokes are different. But like I was saying, with style really doesn't affect the way the code runs, but it affects how it reads. And when you're trying to debug code or maintain code, so like 6 months later, if I want to pick up this mod again and open it up, I want to be able to read it. So every developer gets their own style eventually of what's easy for them to read or what they like. And my style is to actually have the starting curly brace on the same line as when it opens, and then having the close in line. And you'll see that a bit more as I continue to go. So now we're doing the post event, post init, and this is going to be FML post initialization event. Call that event as well. and open curly, enter, and that gives me my last curly. Okay, so as you can see right now, I don't have any red marks in my gutter. So if things go wrong, like I do something like that, you'll see I get a red mark there. I don't have any red marks, so my code is clean. I don't have any yellow marks either, which is good, which means I don't have anything extra. So I expanded my import so you can see all of the imported things that I have. We should be good at this point. Oh, we could do the mod name. That's the other parameter in here. Let's go ahead and give it the mod name. So this is a name parameter, and this is going to be Terraria mod dot, and we don't have a variable for it now, so we're going to call this mod name, like so. And then what we can do is go back to this and hit Control 1. Nope, wrong one. Control space. What? No, that's not right at all. Yes, I know. Oh, it's supposed to tell me. Control 1. It's not going to give me the option to create it. That's a bummer. There's a way to do that, but I don't remember what it is. It's been too long since I've written Java code. So this can be static final string. Mod name equals, oh, you guessed it, it's Terraria mod. You guys are so smart. The other thing I want to do is, this is part of my preferences. This is a neat little trick. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to search for semicolon. It's in typing. And automatically insert at correct position semicolons. Thank you very much. What this is going to do, so without this semicolon, I can be anywhere in the line and I hit semicolon, it's just going to pop it in the right spot. Kind of a nice little thing when you're in the middle of typing. That way you don't have to arrow key or end to the end of the line to get a semicolon in. Okay, so now that, as you can see, matches this now, but we've got our different mod name. Yay, and no comments. Comments are evil. Your code, if you can't read your code, know what it's doing, it's not good code. Don't use variable names like X and Y unless you're actually talking about a coordinate. Don't use like, I don't know, oh, this is variable SBD for, you know, which we all know what that means. But don't abbreviate too much and make your names clear. It doesn't hurt you to type a few extra characters. So like mod name, right? So mod name, it tells me exactly what it is. This is actually a fairly decent variable name. One of the other things you could do is mod underscore name if you want to include spaces in that. But and then the other thing is anything that's static and final is considered, that's a variable, it's considered a constant. So constants are always fully capitalized so that you know that this is a constant name. And the benefit of that is now you can see I've got two different spots in this code that I'm referencing it, but I've only had to do one string. So if I want to change this, I can just change the value here, and everywhere that I referenced it will now be updated to that new name. And this is very important when you're doing things like version. So if I come back later on, I do version 1. So now I've just changed the version everywhere where I'm using it, which will be here and some other places later on. So yeah, stuff like that. More helpful tips from the Honchinator. Okay. So, and this is some information about some of the annotations that you see, the mod annotation, the instance, the event handler instance, network mod, client side. Oh, you know what? Did I miss that? Is that in here? No. Okay. Sided proxy, we'll get to that. because we'll need to define our proxies here in a little bit. So at this point, we should have our mod. So before we move on, let's go ahead and test that and make sure our mod actually fires up. And so do that. Always save. Why not? Why wouldn't you save? That should be on by default. Don't ask me every time. Just do it. So you say, I used to work with some people that would get upset anytime that the IDE would ask stupid questions like that. It's like, Eclipse is stupid. Just ask me the things that it should just know. And to some extent, I agree. That's one of them. That save button. That should just, you should know I want it saved. Come on. Okay. Loading, loading, loading. Loading, 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 loading. Okay. So, 4 mods loaded. So if we look at the mods list, you see Modcraft Coder Pack. Yeah, okay. That's fine. Forge Mod Loader. Blah, blah. Look, Terraria mod, and it's even got the right version. Ooh, yay. Okay. So we're good. So we are now officially a loaded mod. We just aren't doing anything yet. So let's get into doing something, huh? So, you know, I forgot to hit the start on my. I wonder how long I've been recording for. I gotta get better at streaming. Looks like I am 21 minutes in. Okay. So we got about 9 minutes. We can start to get some things set up for the items. We probably won't be able to finish it in this episode, but we'll continue on to episode 2 right away for those watching live. I'm gonna break my stream at that point for YouTube. I am posting these all up on my YouTube channel as well. So, let's see. Where to go next? What's next? Hey, let's do that. Crafting and smelting. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do it. Item stacks. Yeah, I know about item stacks. Shapeless crafting. Do we want shapeless? No, we want shaped crafting. Shaped crafting. Okay. So, what we want to do is in the, where do we want to put it? I'm trying to remember if this goes in pre-init or init. Huh. I don't want to watch the YouTube video. It's kind of gets into a weird kind of situation where you're watching video while you're recording. That's kind of like rebroadcasting. So let's see. Let's try. Well, we can always try it. If it doesn't work, then we'll move it. So, all right, I'm going to slide my reference off to the side here. Well, so we'll try this in pre-init, which I think is where we want it anyways. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a game registry. And of course, this will need to be brought in because it won't know anything about it. So bring that in, game registry. And we want, at this point now, when I hit dot, I get all my different options. So I want to add recipe. And I want the one that's going to give me an output with object parameters. So this is going to be a new item stack. Item stack. Bang. Okay, and this is going to be an item. And this is going to be our glass bowl. Let's see, new glass bowl. Is that right? No. Item glass bowl dot glass. I think that's right. Maybe, maybe not. Let's see. We can add the recipe. Add recipe for new item stack. Think. because I've got to give it. That's the object we're going to get returned. Yeah, that's right. Okay, and that's going to be. So now this object that we're going to do is a series of strings. So so our recipe, I don't know if you guys remember, I had this, here, let me slide this over. I found this cool recipe kind of thing. So here's our glass bowl recipe that we're going to try and create. Na-na-na, da-da-da, glass block, glass block, glass block. And a 1, 2, 3 formation. Okay, so the way we end up doing this is we set up a string for each row in the crafting table. And if I remember right, let's see, actually I'll just look. Yeah. AB, ABA. Where? No, AB and AB. Okay, so this is actually not, that doesn't describe the one I wanted. What I wanted to look at was, yeah, this one. Yeah, so you use a space for anything that requires a space. So you can kind of see we're going to do 3 rows, each one's a string, and then we're going to tell it what each letter is in there. Why don't I just show you what I mean? So, so in the first one, for our last one, we've got 3 spaces, 1, 2, 3. There's nothing in there, right? Second row, we've got glass, so we'll call that G, a space, and then G. Then the last row, we're going to do space, G, space. So it kind of sets up our grid. And then what we got to do is tell it that G is our glass block. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say we're going to use a single quote because it's a character reference, and then give it let's see, no, it's under block dot, and then we want glass. We got to import this. Let's see, blocks, block, Minecraft block dot, no glass, lowercase. Huh. Did they change that on me? Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's block glass. Block. Not black. Block. Well. Really? Let's take a look-see at this. So, to go into block, I can hit F3. This is going to show me the decompiled version. Grass, stone. No, maybe it's blocks with an S. Try that. So, because that is a different class. So let's try blocks. Bring that in. Oh, it's its own class. No, here it is. Blocks.init. So it was that first one. Come on. Where'd you go? Blocks. Blocks from init. Let's try that. Blocks dot. There we go. Glass. Oops. What happened? Okay. Glass. Bing. Okay. So that sets that up as a glass block. Then now we see that we have an error here for glass bowl. So what we can do is we can hit Control 1. What? Create class glass bowl. And So now we're going to get this interface, and what I want to do is I want to put this in a new package. I want to call this items, because we're creating items. And this is just more to keep things organized. And for its superclass that we're going to inherit from, we're actually going to do, let's just browse for that, shall we? And I want to inherit from item. And this is going to be net.minecraft.item, like that. And where's our name? Oh, it already did my name for me. It knows its name. And finish. There's glass bowl, extends item, and we're good. Right. We're going to do a little bit more with this in a little bit, but that should be. What are you complaining about now? So that's not quite right. How do I get that item? Let's go. So let me see what I'm doing here. And shapeless new. So this is doing something to create something else from something that already exists. Alright, at this point I want a different reference. I want to keep this one though. Okay. Adding a recipe to a mod. So let's see. Again, my Chrome doesn't want to search the first time. It's strange. It's creating mods, adding a recipe, custom recipes. That's from Curse. I don't want. Let's go to this one instead. Let's see if Google knows best. All right, we'll finish this off and see. Load, add recipes. Yeah. All right, so new item stack, item.diamond. So this is again a recipe for something exists. This is an old style of doing it. You don't have to do that. Adding a complex recipe. White stone. Adding a shapeless. Again, I don't want to create an existing block. Changing ingredients. Okay, so let's go back and change our Google search a little bit. So adding an item to a mod. Item to a mod. Basic items. Is that really? Yes, that's what I want. Basic items. Basic items. Let's see. Generic item. Extends item. So we did that. Public static item. If you didn't get this, you did something wrong. One thing to try above steps until you get the correct result. You need a custom item class. Go ahead and add a field to your generic class, but don't initialize it. To create the item, tell the game about it. Change the pre-init method to look like this. Oh. Okay, let's do that part, because we didn't do that. So we didn't add the item to the mod. So this looks like it needs to go down into load. So we'll change this down here. That was something I saw when we were poking around the other things. And from pre-init, we're gonna do. I'm actually gonna skip and take a shortcut here. I think. So we're gonna say item, and this is glass bowl equals new glass bowl. Right. And so we got a couple things. So I'm going to go back and hit. So that was control less than that I hit to get to my error. I'm going to hit control 1. It should give me an option to import item. So I'll do that. And then the next thing I want to do is this one's kind of cool too. See, control 1 and convert local variable to field. And that moves that up there. I do, however, want to change this to a public static, which is generally bad form when you're talking about fields because there's no encapsulation there. So not real great design, but it makes it available outside. So now I think, now for this, we then go in and say that the game registry, register this with the game, dot register item, and our item is glass bowl, and the name is glass bowl. Ooh, looky there. Okay, so now this should actually be glass bowl. Bump. Everything's good. We got a couple warnings here. What do we got here? Oh, this is a selection reference. So if I select something else, if I just select inside a string. Okay, so this is just a selection reference here, these gray ones. So it just kind of is doing an auto search in the file. But it looks like our code is clean at this point. So, alright, this is what we're going to do. So we're going to run this. I'm going to see if we can get a glass bowl item. And then I'll have to see if I can remember my server command for giving myself an item. If I can, we should end up with a glass bowl in our inventory. But it ain't going to look like much. So I think what I'll probably do offline is I'll probably just go ahead and create a 16 by 16 icon for a glass bowl. And we'll take a look at it then. And then we'll close. And I'll do that offline so that we're ready to go for the next episode. Alright, so we're going to create a new world. New world, and we'll go ahead and put that in creative. Not that I'm going to be able to find this in creative, but because I haven't added it to a creative tab. You can see the world generation going on here. Almost done there. And slow and steady. All right. So, I don't think we're gonna find in any tab. And we should see if it is in a tab, it defaulted it somewhere. Which I'm trying to remember if it actually does default it. I don't think it does. But it would be at the end of the item count. That's because of where it adds into the array. Like, you can't really add in between. Yeah, so that's that. So I don't see anything that's got a generic texture, which is that kind of purple and black. So, looks like, yeah, you can't get it that way. So what we're going to do, let's see if we can see, give player 493. 1 glass bowl. Oops. Okay, try that again. Give player 493 glass. I'm trying to think of it's just the name. Glass bowl. Let's. All right. Trial and error. Give player 493 glass bowl in one of them. No glass bowl. Oh, you know what? I know why. Give player 493 Terraria mod glass bowl 1. Alright. That's mod named Terraria mod. Glass bowl. So, oh. Alright. Let's we'll try one more thing. I think that name should be not. I think I used the wrong name here. So I'm gonna shut that down. Quit out. I'm gonna change this name to something that Minecraft can use. Glass bowl, like so. And we'll just restart that back up. We'll give this a try, and we'll call that the episode if this works. At least that way we'll have a good stopping point. I'm already like way over my time. Coding's so much fun, I just don't want to stop. I may have to break this up into 2 episodes for YouTube. We'll see. Quickly. Oh, it's coming up. There it is. Here. I think what I may do too is switch my monitor capture too, so I don't have to keep sliding stuff over all the time. Okay, single player, new world. Play selected world. Oh, look at that. It noticed that I changed. Oh, see, it had it as with the space. Yes. So this is probably going to work to where I end up getting a glass bowl item. Given that it just told me that it couldn't find the old reference. So now if I do give, hang on a second, what player am I? Yo. Oh, come on. Oh. Yo. 613. Give player 613 Terraria mod. Colon. Glass bowl. Just 1. Well, I didn't spell it right. For Pete's sakes. Let's see if it knows me. Now I'm just messing around. Glass bowl. That player cannot be found. Alright. Give player 613 Terraria mod glass bowl. Hey, look at that. I got a glass bowl. Yeah. Woo. Of course, it doesn't look like much, but it did load it by name. So we successfully have an item. So in the next episode, we will take this item and make it look like a glass bowl and have the name glass bowl when we hover over it instead of item null name. So we'll do all that in our next episode. This is Senior Honcho. Thanks for watching.